I'm joined here today by the one, the only, of course, talking about Cory Hendricks, who we saw was a big talk after he got the come from behind victory, third round submission. What's going on, sir? How are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for asking. Let me ask you, man, what did social media and everything look like for you when you got back after that fight? Because it looked like, on my end at least, and I'm not even you, but it seemed like people were going pretty crazy talking about your victory.
Yeah, I got a lot of positive comments out of it. Just usually after a fight, you get a lot more social media attention, and yeah, this one was no different. Probably a little bit more than normal, but yeah, just a lot of positive comments and people saying they enjoyed the fight.
What did you make of all that attention? Like, PFL, it's obviously a big promotion. It's on ESPN and stuff like that. Was this bigger for you than a normal, even with the results of the fight being the way they were?
Yeah, I'd say it was more than normal, but I mean, it's just the same kind of stuff. Lots of people just saying, good work. They love the fight and all that stuff. Yeah, just a lot of positive comments and one hater.
That's what it is, right? You have like thousands of positives, and then the one hater is more memorable than it should be. Are you able to share with us what the hater said without giving them too much attention?
He just said I was a pussy.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, right? Calling a professional fighter a pussy like that. That seems a little odd to me, but I mean, sure
Yeah,
enough, there it is.
whatever. I responded, and I still haven't heard back from him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what's your reaction when you first read that? Is there a part of you that's like wants to fly him out so you can come see him in person and see who the real pussy is, or are you able to just brush that off?
No, I think it's funny. Like, I don't think you should care about the opinions of people you don't even know. Like, I have no idea who this guy is or like what. I don't. I just have no reason to respect his opinion, so I'm not going to. I just think it's funny.
All right, so talk to me a little bit about the PFL signings. For people that follow your career, we saw you compete on The Ultimate Fighter. You go to ACB, ACA. Now you ended up with the PFL. How did that come all together? Because I feel like it was sort of under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, I was on the Ultimate Fighter. I had my one fight in the UFC, and then it was right around the time that WME bought the UFC, and so I lost that fight. And then must have been like 4 or 5 months later, WME decided to make a bunch of cuts, and I was one of those cuts. And so from there, I was healing up my neck injury anyway, so I was still taking some time off. And then when I was ready to come back, I signed with ACA, which was ACB at the time, and I fought for them, I believe, 6 times. And then, yeah, just recently, a couple months ago, I signed with PFL and was able to fill in for a fighter who wasn't able to continue and hopped into the season and tried to make my way into the playoffs. Came up a little bit short, but I'm still the alternate, so there's still an opportunity maybe.
So what do you make of this unique format? Obviously, you have the season, you get the points. It's kind of like soccer a lot, football, some of these other sports. What do you make of that sort of format? Because it is very unique in MMA.
Yeah, I like it just because it's something different. It's that's one of the nice things about having so many promotions is I like when promotions try something new or do things a little bit different than the traditional way. And not that all of them do, but PFL definitely does. And it's a unique format, and it's kind of cool that you not fully, but you have more control of your own destiny. Like in other promotions, it's just up to the matchmakers to match up, whoever they want. But here, it's kind of up to you whether you continue or not, just based on if you win and how you win. So it's nice to give yourself a little bit more control. Still not all in your hands because it depends what happens with the other fights. But yeah, it's I like it for variety's sake, and it's an interesting format. And it's just a real good alternative. It's always good to have like other options out there. I don't like how for a while it was like everyone's like, oh, you got to be in the UFC or else there's just nothing else. So it's really good to have other like competitive options that pay well and have good talent there.
And so we know what the playoff format is. You go out there, you try to get as many points as you can to get into the playoffs. Does that change your preparation as a fighter? Because obviously it's like, you get the first round finish, 6 points, all that stuff. Does that change anything for you? Because there is that pressure to get the points and to go out there and get the finish in order to get it.
It might change things for some people. For me, not too much because I find that obviously I want as quick a finish as possible, but if you try and force things, a lot of times it makes it harder. Like if you go out there with the intentions of just, I'm going to knock this guy out, you kind of force things instead of letting them happen. And that can make it more difficult and kind of hold you back. So, my main goal was just to win the fight in general because I'm regardless of all the points and everything. I'm in a fight. I don't want to get beat up. I want to win the fight. So that's my first primary goal, is to win the fight. Second goal is to win it as fast as possible. And you're not always going to be able to finish everyone. You're fighting really tough guys. You know, you fight good fighters, you're not going to be able to finish everyone. That's what I'm going out there trying to do, but it's unfortunately not always going to be able to happen.
So what's your mindset going into that third round? 'Cause obviously the big talk after the fight was come from behind victory, all that good stuff. Where's your head at as you're heading into that last round?
Going into the third round, I knew obviously I lost the first round. I think most people would probably score the second round for him. I think it was pretty close, and I think you could argue that I won it, just because I think I did more actual damage. But with judges, I would never assume that I had that round, especially. So you know, I was going out there knowing I had to at least win the round, if not get a finish. And also, what was at the forefront of my mind was I knew he was a lot more tired than I was. So I knew that if I was able to push the pace and if I was able to stop him from holding me up against the fence, that I would have a good opportunity to, just start to take things up a couple notches and wear him down. And I thought I'd have an opportunity to finish him and get the win.
So what did you see in him that made you say he's more tired than me? Was it something you saw from him? Was it the way, the fight was playing out? Where did you see that made you realize he was more tired?
His body language and just how heavy he was breathing compared to how heavy I was breathing and how I felt. I mean, obviously, like, we already fought for 10 minutes. Like, it's not like you're not going to be tired at all. But just looking at him, I thought he was a lot more tired than me. And I thought he also was a lot less comfortable standing at range with me than I was. He definitely wanted to be in a lot closer, be in the clinch for the fight, get me to the ground and be on top of me. So I knew that, I knew that I had more energy than him, and that if I could separate from him being even more tired, that makes it even worse when you're, standing across from someone and you're dead tired, and then they just start walking at you, throwing things. It's one of the worst feelings in the world.
So you got the rear naked choke finish. Talk me through that finish. Like, at what point did you realize, like, it's locked, it's over, he's not getting out of this one without the referee?
So as soon as I got on top of him on the ground, I was throwing strikes. I thought I was going to be able to TKO him, but then the way we were rolling around and the way he was moving, I ended up on his back. So obviously I'm hunting for that choke. At a certain point, I thought it was going to be tough at first because I thought I wasn't going to be able to get under his neck. So I thought I was going to have to hit him, and I was going to try and actually transition from the back and just get back to on top and try and finish him with strikes. But when he was rolling around one time, I was able to slip my arm kind of under his neck, not super deep, but deep enough. I was under the chin, and I only had I couldn't get like a good grip on my arm here. I had it like just basically like my fist on my bicep there. And instead of having like the elbow kind of in front by the chin here, I had more my forearm across his neck. So it wasn't really a blood choke. It was more of an air choke and more just uncomfortable. But I knew he was tired and kind of struggling to get out of that position. And so I was like, I don't really have this sunk in, but I think I can still finish him with it. So I started to squeeze on that. And then he rolled, I think we were on the left side, I think, and he rolled back to the right. And when he did that, that allowed me to adjust and sink my arm further through where I was able to grab my other arm and had my arm properly lined up where I was hitting his carotid arteries. So at that point, once I got there and had my bicep grabbed, then I knew I had it. And it was just a matter of squeezing and arching, and got the tap a second later.
So one of the things that PFL likes to do is they like to, put guys in to watch the fights. They keep a camera on them. They show the reaction and stuff. I'm sure some people send it to you, but you did sort of become a meme where they called it the Cory Hendricks confused cam. Well, has anybody sent it to you? Because that reaction did make the rounds all over Twitter.
No, I didn't actually see that. I saw someone mentioned something to me about it, but I didn't hear a whole lot about it. But I think that was when they were announcing the other decision. I was trying to figure out if I was in or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I wasn't 100% clear on the tiebreaker criteria. So I knew we were tied because of that. But I'd read it before, but it'd been a couple of weeks since I'd read through like their list of how the tiebreakers go. So I was trying to remember what the order of the criteria was, because that was going to decide whether I was in or not.
So talk to me a little bit about Tom Lawlor, because you guys are kind of in a unique situation because you're teammates and stuff, and you're both obviously trying to make the playoffs. How did that sort of unfold with you guys being in kind of a tricky position?
Yeah, when I mean, he was signed with PFL before me, and then opportunity came up for me, and yeah, I mean, we obviously knew that we might end up having to fight each other, but talking to PFL, like when I first signed with them, explained like, hey, we're teammates and friends, and like, we'll fight in the playoffs because it's for $1 million, so whatever, I'll fight pretty much anyone for that. But just try not to match us up in the regular season if you can. So they gave us that, and yeah, so I mean, I only had my one fight, and it wasn't against him, so it's all good. And then if something happens and we both end up stepping into the playoffs, then we'll deal with that when we get to it. But if we're fighting for $1 million, it's okay. We fought plenty of times in the gym. Why not get paid for it?
Exactly. One last question for you. I know it's kind of tricky because you are an alternate, but realistically, like, when do you think we're going to see you fight again? And what do these next couple months look like for you, since you have to be ready for a fight, but you don't know if it's going to happen?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, things are just kind of up in the air right now. The playoffs are on August 16, I believe, is the playoff fight. So I'm the first alternate. So if any one of the four guys falls out, I step in, and I believe they're just going to have me like go ahead and make weight and be there just in case something does happen. So I'll be preparing for that as if I have a fight, with the mindset that I do have a fight. And I hope, not that I hope something bad happens to any of those guys, but hopefully something happens where I get the opportunity to step in, and I'll be ready for it. If I don't end up stepping into that, I'm honestly not sure. I'll just kind of have to talk to PFL and see what the deal is.
Well, there we go. Well, thank you so much for the time, man. I really appreciate it. Congratulations on the victory. And hopefully we do see you at some point in the playoffs and then eventually fighting for that $1 million.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.